This might be controversial opinion, but here it is. Understanding everything is not necessary. Sometimes odd things happened and you don't know why. And to understand the deep reason for the problem might just be a waste of time. Sometimes odd thing happens in the life of a developer and you just need to learn to let it go. Over the last few days, I was improving feature tests, speed, coverage, but there was no change in functionality. But suddenly, one of the tests started to fail. So just to make sure, I ran it again, but it failed again. To spare you the details, there was a form that failed to submit. There was no error, all the elements that were there that's supposed to, the submit just didn't work. At this point, I become paranoid about everything on that page. So what I generally do is I simplify everything as possible. I remove all the elements on the page, and by process of elimination I find that the problem was causing the line above the submit button. When the line was there, the submit didn't work. When the line was not there, the submit did work. Even when I replaced the line with some gibberish, it still didn't work. Just to be sure, I manually tested this in a local environment, but everything was working fine. I stared at the problem for a few moments and decided to put an extra line before the submit button. Test passed, problem fixed, I moved on. What? You might ask. You didn't find the reason why it was not submitting, what was happening? The answer is no. Because to do this, I would need to go deep down to Capybara, and there was no reason for me to spend half a day, maybe even a day, to tracking the specific reason why this failed. The problem was fixed. There was no problem in functionality of the code itself. It was the test problem. Sometimes it's not worth it to spend those extra hours to tracking down the problem. We are developers and we are naturally curious why things don't work or why they do. If you are really desperate to find out why the problem was happening, you can spend it on your own time after work. But at work, you need to deliver value, and tracking down the problem in Capybara is most likely not the value you are expected to deliver. Just to be sure, I'm not saying you shouldn't track down problems. You definitely do. But you need to decide what problems are worth solving and digging down on what's not. So please, if you find a problem in your production code, make sure you spend the time to understanding the problem. Nothing is worse than fixing problem that you don't understand.